Zion Williamson. On the court, he's been one of the league's best, but off the court drama and a long list of injuries have overshadowed his career to this day.
He's a generational talent that we can't trust.
So I'm here to save his career. Zion, now fully healthy, only 250 pounds, and focused purely on basketball, was ready for the 2023-24 season. A fully fit Zion able to play every game of the year would put the league on notice. A third All-Star appearance was inevitable, as Zion went on to average 27, 8 and 5. But in the strong West, they would wound up as the 5th seed against the Lakers. Having been compared to LeBron his whole career, Zion had a perfect chance to win over the king in a passing of the torch. But against all-defensive Anthony Davis, he wasn't getting it easy, as the Lakers took games 1 and 2 at home. While Zion wrestled to claim game 3, ultimately the Lakers were far more stacked from top to bottom, as the king kept his throne, sending the Pelicans home in 5. The core would run it back in the following year, elevating themselves to the 2 seed with 51 wins. In the first round, they matched up against the relentless Kings, who would give them a run for their money. Having lit the beam twice at home to tie the series at 2-2, well, Zion wasn't going to get them loose, winning back-to-back games by himself to take his first playoff series. The old Clippers in the next round wouldn't even make it to 6. Jay Crowder on Zion has to be some sort of federal crime. What? Am I reading that right? 48 points on 24 shots. And 35 and 33-year-old PG and Kawhi were off to Cancun early. But things were only going to get harder from here, and an OKC team that had knocked off the 1-seeded Warriors weren't to be taken lightly. With this team, OKC's time was now, and they'd ball out in Game 1, the Pelicans falling asleep. And despite a Game 2 win, a Game 3 loss put all the spotlight onto Game 4. And well, they got blown out the water, and they could never recover at home. But after averaging 28 on 63% efficiency in the playoffs, Zion was little to blame. However, in year 3, after years of trade rumors in search for money, Ingram would take his talents to Charlotte, opting for a new future, and the overzealous Pelicans would keep the rest of the core intact. Zion would single-handedly will the team to the 6th seed with his best individual year, but a 38 but still 95 overall Steph Curry would run them off the floor easily. At last, entering his prime years and the Pelicans being terrible, Zion would request a trade, sending shockwaves around the NBA. Since year 3, Zion had been linked to the Knicks, and finally, he would get his move to a huge franchise, swapping places with Julius Randle. Paired with all-star point guard Jalen Brunson and all-star RJ Barrett, the Knicks had a big 3 ready to compete. Zion would bring a new level of excitement to the Garden.
I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. We here. New York.
And this team was serious, finishing with 54 wins as the 2 seed. However, the East was just as strong as the West, and Zion had to beat Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton en route to the Eastern Conference Finals. Expecting the 1-seeded Pistons with their big 3, well, they got upset by the Magic. How did this team beat Cade, Jaden Ivey and Azar Thompson? Explain. And 7 years into his NBA career, well, Zion wasn't going to let this one get away, taking games 1, 2, 3, not 4, but back again with 5 to claim this series. And the Knicks were in the NBA Finals, but Scoot Henderson exists. 2K got this man averaging 30 on 57% shooting and 47% of 3.
We were watching a master at work.
Both players had a similar style of play, attacking the rim, and both with a relentless drive to win. But Portland, through Scoot and the remaining pieces from the Dame trade, would take games 1 and 2, and were in the box seat. And with Scoot, you know there was going to be every last bit of trash talk. But Zion hadn't made it this far to go out that easy, reeling it back at home. Now, tied at 2-2, the Knicks had one job, and that was to keep it close in Game 5, to give themselves a chance. And so they would. Here we go. The Knicks down 3 with a minute 20 left. This is a big possession. Jalen Brunson and Zion, 2-man game, lob to Zion! Now they're only down 1. Scoot, you know he's going to respond well. Goes to DeAndre Ayton. over Mitchell Robinson, and he missed. Oh my god, this guy sucks. Brunson again to Zion. This is for the lead. Who's that on him? That should be easy money. There we go. Tim Hardaway down to DeAndre Ayton. What is this guy doing? Yeah, you better apologize, bro. The Blazers gonna foul. Yep. Brunson makes them both. Okay, here we go. Down 3. Last possession here for the Blazers. Do or die. Not DeAndre Ayton. Oh my god, you're fouled. Wait. They just gave him the 2 points. What? Bro, he was not making those free throws. But the Knicks would hold on to take game 5 through Zion, but also DeAndre Ayton. Now, the exuberant Scoot had gone quiet, becoming emotional instead. And a Zion masterclass in game 6. 46 points, are you kidding me? Winning New York their first ring in who knows how long. Zion etching himself in New York royalty. Wait, Josh Hart won Finals MVP, are you kidding? Yeah, 5, 4, and 5. Yep, no, definitely Finals MVP, 2K. In the following year, Zion would win Clutch Player of the Year, and the Knicks would win 51 games. Yet in the razor-tight East, they ended up 6th, and like all greats say, the second ring is just as hard as the first. But the 6th seed Knicks would put any doubters away with a convincing first round against the Raptors. But an up-and-coming Hornets team with MVP LaMelo Ball and having recruited a 30-year-old Bam, many who would consider the ideal Zion stopper.
I take pride in defense. I take pride in getting stops. That makes me feel great.
And with LaMelo playing the best basketball of his career, he would give them a 2-0 lead. The reigning champs were now in trouble. And Zion, with no perimeter game to go back on, when the inside shots weren't falling against Bam, the Knicks, well, they lost in 5. And as he walked off the floor, many wondered if it was the last time they saw him in a Knicks jersey, as he entered a contract year. Now, in year 6, without a contract, Zion was weighing up his options. But literally 2 years after winning a ring and the core together, he recommitted to the Knicks on a long-term deal. And straight away, he was quick to work to put away the sorrows from the previous year. Sporting a new look, Zion would lead the team to 55 wins and winning his first MVP. Once again, it was the Hornets in the second round. Yet this time, the Hornets had come off a narrow 7-game series versus a bad Wizards team. And with extra motivation perhaps, Zion took 2 at home, 1 on the road, and another at home to close it out. And against the retirement home Chicago Bulls, you know how this one goes, as they beat them in 5. And the Knicks were back in the NBA Finals. The world was waiting for the OKC v Knicks Finals, but instead, the Mavs had somehow upset the 73-9 OKC team and weren't to be taken lightly, led by the 2-time MVP, 10-time first All-NBA, and somehow 2-time All-Defense, Luka Doncic, who many considered to be one of the greats at just 30 years old. But he was without a ring, and with Brandon Ingram and 37-year-old Kyrie by his side, he had the squad to do it. And so the level of shot making was unparalleled, tough bucket after tough bucket, and while the Mavs shot makers were levels above, stealing the first 2 games at the Garden. And now, back to Dallas, they had an impossible task, and despite stealing 1 game, down 3-1 in the NBA Finals, well, things didn't go to plan, as the Mavs never lost the lead.
And the celebration will begin. The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions.
An embarrassing loss for the city of New York with the team they had. But things weren't going to get easier, as in year 7, with Mitchell Robinson leaving and Jalen Brunson now at 33 years old slowly regressing, even 2K made it, you can't even make this up, 2K made a graphic to show it. The Knicks would wound up as the 4th seed, but the 1-seeded Hornets were waiting in the conference finals and were back for revenge. This was for all the glory, well, not really, but still. But with a 6'8" Isaiah Evans at the 2, Brunson was guarding Melo, who carved up the Knicks, and the well-oiled Hornets would comfortably win in 5. With an ultimate destiny to win championships, and the Knicks, who weren't going in the right direction, Zion would give it 1 more year, and weigh his future up in the offseason. In this year, he'd have one of his best seasons, averaging 29, 7, and 6. But after another loss to the Hornets, you can't even make this up. How many times have they played each other? And so for Zion, a return to New York looked unlikely. Now in year 9 and in his 30s, Zion's new move was crucial for his career. and with the Knicks ruled out, he joined longtime friend and high school teammate Ja Morant, forming one of the best duos in the league.
I got to tell you something right now. There's no doubt that it appears to be a perfect fit.
However, Zion 31, Ja 32, their championship window was small and closing. A more well-rounded and versatile Ja who had developed his jumper would complement Zion, as the former teammates hit the ground running with a 54-win season and a 2 seed. In the playoffs, their biggest comp was on the other side of the bracket, so after clearing through the first 2 rounds, the Mavericks awaited them, and Zion had to face Luka again. But having left New York and only 1 ring to show for his playoff success, the pressure was on Zion to deliver. The two teams battled hard, and the Zion and Luka rivalry dated back to the NBA Finals 3 years ago. But for Zion, having lost our finals, this was personal, taking games 1 and 2 on the road. The 1-seeded Mavs simply couldn't contain the rim pressure of Ja, Zion, and Amen Thompson as they advanced to their first NBA Finals in franchise history. However, withering away in San Antonio for years, Victor Wembanyama had made his move to Florida, and oh god, he was special.
He's something special. He shows up when it counts. We know what he brings to the table.
On paper, it was hard to bet against this Heat team, but having had a tough run to the finals, the Grizzlies stole Game 1 on the road, and a repeat of the previous series against the Mavs looked a likelihood. Yet in the following 2 games, the rim defense of Wemby was noticeable. Zion and Ja couldn't get to the rim as easily as the Heat crawled back into the series. But eventually the 2 powerhouse teams would even out, as from then on neither team would lose at home, as Zion was about to play in his first ever Game 7 on the biggest stage, and 2 of the best in the world weren't giving an edge, and with 1 minute 30 left, it was Zion's game to lose. Victor Wembanyama with the ball in his hands, down 2, they're going to need a bucket. Gives it up to Josh Giddey, okay. Trey Jones with the ball in his hands, alright, sure. Pick and roll. Down. Oh my god, Zion with a steal. Surely go for the dunk. Zion smartly pulls it back, to be fair. Oh, Ja's free for the 3. To extend the lead. Surely that's game. Oh my god. Down 5. I mean, they need a bucket now. Wemby and 1. Oh, and they just give him the 3 throw, okay, apparently. That's what we're doing. Ja. Easy to end the game, and he missed. He missed. The Heat. Oh my god, the Heat can take the lead. Surely to Wemby. Open midi. Oh my god, how did he miss? Ja to make it a 2-possession game and seal it for the Grizzlies, and of course he choked. Oh my god. The Heat 1-3 away from OT. The Grizzlies 1 stop away from a ring. Am I tripping, or I don't see Wemby in the game? The Heat without Wemby. Giddey to tie it up and send it to OT, and he misses. And the Grizzlies do it. Zion brings a ring to Memphis. Whoa, 2K, what are we doing, 2K? Oh, okay, he's in the celebration. Yep, love it. In the new year, Zion and Ja sought to make it back-to-back, but had this duo already peaked. They entered the playoffs as a 6th seed against Tyrese Halliburton and his Lakers. Just 1 year removed from a championships, the Grizzlies didn't look the part. From poor finishing at the rim to sloppy turnovers, they weren't good enough as it got bounced in the first round. Entering year 11, Zion was only a 90 overall. Having relied on his athleticism his whole career, now at 33, that God-given athleticism was no longer there, and his inability to progress his 3-ball would now harm him. And whilst the Grizzlies were a fringe playoff team that year, in the 2034-35 season, Zion would miss out on the playoffs for the first time in 11 years. And wishing to retire on somewhat of a high pull piss.
Chasing that farewell tour, they don't love you like that.
He retired in that season. As always, if you liked the video, a like, subscribe, comment would be very much appreciated. And for now, peace.